And tonight is something I've been doing a lot of seminars here lately on. Well, not really on this subject, but I've been doing a lot of seminars here in the last few weeks. And this is something I've gotten a lot of questions about, a lot of feedback on, things to do. Let's see here. So right off the bat, I want to apologize to everybody for last weekend and all of the nonsense kind of comments and stuff that was coming on there. I added a few people on as admins, or moderators. So, I want to thank you guys for doing that. But anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about navigation, Navionics charts. A lot of the questions I've been getting here recently, we're talking, I was talking about, pinch points and channels and ditches and humps and things. And a lot of people had no idea what I was even talking about in these seminars. So I thought it'd be a good subject to talk about tonight. May take more than 1 week, may take a long time, who knows? But you guys know how I like to do it. I like to break it down, answer everybody's questions. Hopefully you guys can hear me good, see me good, and all that good stuff. If you can, give me that thumbs up, let me know. If this is your first time watching the channel, welcome. I'm Chris Souders, Slender Cat Outdoors, and I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to teach you guys something tonight. Once again, tonight we're going to be talking about navigation charts. So you won't be seeing much of me. I'm going to flip it around, and you guys we're actually on the boat. I got my Lowrance HDS 12 touchscreen powered up, and we're going to kind of, just talk about it, answer some questions. If you guys got questions, make sure you hit them up in the comments. I'll be able to read the comments as we go, and yeah, let's get to it. Now, I got some things highlighted, so you guys will see some collar, some things that are not collared, things like that. So, I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. So let's get this thing turned around. All right, so as you guys can see, I've got pulled up, this is actually Gunnersville Lake. This is in Alabama. I have some stuff highlighted. I actually have what is called a safety depth set up, so you guys can kind of, it'll pop out at you guys more on the screen. The blue is the safety depth. I have it set at 18 feet, so anything below 18 foot is highlighted, okay? And that'll kind of help us out as we go through the night. Whenever I'm pointing stuff out. Now, right off the bat, you guys can see this is the main channel here. Okay, I have that colored in like a brown or a gray. You guys can notice all the dark lines, the light lines, the little squiggly lines. So what I want to do is just kind of start breaking this down as we talk about it. So right off the bat, this is a Navionics Plus card. This is something that you guys have heard me talk about before. It's for your best bang for your money. This is what I highly recommend. You guys can, buy the card, buy the program, or, download the program on your home computer. And then as you guys go along, whatever, lake or body of water that has navigation charts on it, from Navionics, you guys can download those community edits constantly, okay? And that's all over US and Canada. So, and I think that card cost me about $199, and then I think the subscription was like $100. But once you get it, you can kind of load everything you want up at one time, and I have still yet to fill this up. I usually go back once a year and kind of update it, put new community edits, stuff like that on, just kind of get all the up-to-date stuff as we go. So if you guys are in the market for a Navionics card, check out Navionics Plus. It's definitely worth the money. So let's get back to it. Right off the bat, one of the first questions I had, and I've had a lot of, is how do you tell, what are we looking at? So basically, what this is a topographical map of the bottom of the river, okay? So if you can imagine, if anybody out there is a deer hunter, and you guys used to use topographical maps to track deer and find pinch points, funnels, steep hills, rock walls, things like that. This is basically the same thing that you're going to do, okay? So what we're looking at is each line is the depth. We'll zoom that in just a little bit. And you can see how, how those depths will make a hump. Right here, it goes from 10 to 6. So, we're going from like 10, 12, 13 foot right here in this old creek bed. That's what that brown is. That's an old creek bed. And then it comes up onto a hump right here. And you can see how that makes little points out through there. Now, I have never looked at really this section of Guntersville Lake. So, this is actually a pretty good learning experience for myself. And a lot of people ask, they ask me, how much time do you really spend looking at charts? And to be honest, spending time looking at these charts is one of the most productive things you can do. It's nice out today. I don't know where you guys are from, but where I'm from, it's 60, 70, or, 60 degrees today, got up in the high 50s, really nice, sunny. It's nice and warm out here in the garage. So, days like today, it's nice to get out of the house, come out here to the boat, familiarize myself with my unit, the Navionics, things like that. So, it's very important to do this kind of thing, the more time that you spend doing your homework, just like, our parents always told us, if we would actually do our homework and spend our time studying, we'd get better grades, right? Well, this is the same thing. The more time we spend studying these maps and charts, the better and more comfortable we're going to feel once we get to that body of water, okay? All right, so, what is a point? And the reason I'm saying this is because there's a really good example of a point right here in the center of the screen, okay? So we have an old creek. It comes out before this body of water was flooded. Obviously there was creeks and small streams that ran into the main Tennessee River Valley, okay? So these creeks would still be there, these creek beds would. And, they still will create these points. And these points are nice places, are also pinch points as well. So we have, points for the fish to be able to, kind of run these ledges, which are highly, highly productive. And then the points just on a natural thing are going to hold fish. They're going to give places for fish to kind of load up on and ambush prey and rest and get out of current if there's current, things like that, okay? So some other things that on these navigation charts that people don't understand and don't realize is there's a lot of information that are there in the details that some people may not even see, okay? For instance, where I got the cursor at right there, that is a old bridge, an old roadbed. Now, why is that important? Or if you're asking yourself, well, why is that relative, to what, what I'm looking at? A lot of this stuff, if you can find it ahead of time, and for instance, say you got a big cold front come in, and where we're looking at is these mud flats, but yet we have a cold front come in, and those fish want to be relevant to some sort of hard structure. Well, this old roadbed, this old bridge, creek bed, that's going to give them that kind of structure that they want to be around, okay? Let's zoom out here a little bit. So now something that I want to show you guys is, what is a pinch point? And if I can find one here real quick. Okay, so what we have here, this is a good example of a pinch point. So we have this big flat that comes off this is main river channel here, shallow flat. You guys can see how how, I have it highlighted in blue for you guys that are just joining in. What is in blue is kind of like my safety depth that I have set on my sonar just for you guys to be able to, kind of see some different depths easier through the video. But we have that shallow flat, and then it kind of drops down into a secondary channel, okay? But this secondary channel is going to be a pinch point because those fish are going to want to either travel the secondary channel or the main channel, okay? So for those of you that were asking, what a secondary or what a pinch point is, that is an example of a pinch point. Now, that's not a perfect example. A perfect example would be where the actual land would come in and create one giant pinch point to where everything in that body of water would have to funnel through that. But, just looking here, I'm wanting to pick out stuff as we go along. So make sure you guys are asking questions. I had a lot of questions in the seminars, and, like I was telling them folks, I can't answer something I don't know a whole lot, what's being asked. So make sure you guys are asking those questions as we come along. Now, let's see here. I'm going to scroll out here some and see if I can't. There we go. Okay, so this, now I was just talking about this, and I was saying it would be nice to be able to show you guys, what like kind of a land pinch point is, and that is exactly what this is. If I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. So you have the land from this bridge that comes across, and you have the secondary channel and the main channel that comes through. Now this is a shallower flat, but it's, it's still 20 to 23, 24 foot deep right here on this flat. But this creates a huge pinch point, There's going to be a high percentage of those fish that are traveling back and forth that have to either go through here or go through here. And those create huge places for you to be able to go and just better your chances of being there. Now this is something that, once again, I've never been here. So I can't honestly say for sure that this would be a great place, but where you got this shallow hump that comes down into this point, you have the secondary channel, creek bed or another little stream that you come in there before. Then you have the funnel, the pinch point here from the land. This is going to be a extremely good, high traffic area right here on this ledge. Now, one of the questions, I got this weekend was, how do I tell, what a hole is, what a hump is, and kind of what ledges are. Okay, so an easy way to do this, if you're specifically looking for ledges, is to kind of, pan your view out a little bit to where you can see a bigger section, okay? And you'll see dark lines, just like this. All these dark lines, the closer and darker those lines are together, then that means the steeper the drop. Now, depending on how deep it is, there's a lot of things that go into play with that, but more than likely, if you have a real heavy dark line, like we do here, this is going to be some sort of ledge. Now, does it take a real steep ledge to, hold fish or attract fish? No, it can be, something just a few feet, a couple feet, difference. Here's a good example of 3 humps right in a row. So, and this is one of the reasons I put the safety depth on, is so you guys can see things a little bit easier. So we have the main channel, and you guys can see that main ledge right through there. Let me see here. Randy, let me get right to that question. That's a good question. So, you know, we have 3 humps here, but we have this main ledge channel right here. Now that's going to allow those fish to get, a couple different things. One, deeper water if they need it. Come up on these shallower humps to get warm. A lot of times these shallower humps and flats will, hold bait as well. So we had a question, and Randy asks, how do you go back to a spot you marked as a waypoint and get back in the same spot? Okay, so let's do that real quick. So if we, for instance, I wanted to fish this hump here, I would put my cursor on it. Now remember, this is a Navionics or a Lowrance HDS 12, okay? I'd hit new waypoint. It's going to pop up. And then, once I get to this point, I can do a lot of different things. I like to specifically mark things. However, whatever it is I am marking, I like to put it in the details. So this is a little hump symbol. I'm going to put it there. And then I'm even going to add some notes. So add, whatever notes you want to. Maybe it's a tree, maybe it's a hump, maybe it's you marked a fish, rock, rubble, whatever it may be. Put this kind of stuff in your notes. That way, me personally, I can't remember hardly any of that, no matter where I'm at. So if I go to this new place or even if I am marking it out here in the garage, I can mark that stuff, put notes on it, take a look at it. Things of that nature. And then when I get there, I have an idea of what it was I was supposed to be looking for, okay? So we're gonna hit enter. Hit save, and now you can see that it showed up. So if I was wanting to go back across it, then, there I would just turn the boat, go back directly straight over top of it, and your boat is going to, show you the direction on the screen. Obviously, it's not doing it now because we don't have as you guys can see down here, we don't have a GPS fix. So, it's not going to show the vessel on the water or anything. So unfortunately, I can't show you that part of it. But then you would just drive right back across it, and you'd have it marked and be ready to go. Let's zoom out here and see if we can't find something else that's pretty interesting. Now, as you guys can see right here, something that kind of intrigues me a little bit is we have a point that comes down real steep, okay? But then we see this dark line. Now, I don't have a clue what that is, but that is very interesting to me, especially the way it runs across the lake. So we're gonna go over there and zoom in on it, kind of see what we got. Okay, so this is very, very interesting to me. So we have, a point that comes down. This is some 50-foot water around in here, 54, 55. But then right here is a ledge. Now, like I said before, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be those real, tight gripped style of, lines to be able to be much. This may only be, looks like about 8 foot or so, but that is plenty for fish to kind of get in there. And that's really intriguing to me. So now this is kind of off of, let's say, the main uh, river channel. And this is a lot of contour and that, structure, or not really structure, but just contour style of change in the bottom. You can see lots, got two old creek channels, another bridge, an old roadbed, and there's just all kinds of, points, small ledges, humps, some deeper pockets that work back in, some really shallow water. Here's a good pinch point right here, even though this is shallower. We're coming from 20, 25 foot out here where the old creek bed used to be, and then it kind of goes back up into 15 foot. But super shallow here, super shallow here, real tight pinch point right there, okay? Let's see what else we can find. Now, for anybody that is new to Navionics, they make it very simple to navigate. There's not a whole lot to it. Once you buy the card from Amazon, Bass Pro, Russell Marine, wherever you may get it, it is empty. Okay, so you have to understand that. So there's nothing going to be on that Navionics Plus card. And you have to put it in your computer. You have to download that program, but you don't have to buy, a bunch of different cards. You can have one card for the whole United States, and that's a huge thing to me. Before, if you buy segments to get each section that you want, you may have to spend $250 per card, okay? And that is only good in that section. You can't update it, none of that, none of that kind of stuff, okay? So now this works out pretty good to me because I can sit out here, do a little bit of homework myself. It's been a while since I've been on the water, so it's nice to be able to get out here and kind of refamiliarize myself with this. So here we have a real wide section of the river. This is deeper. This is 25 foot where the wide is, and of course, you guys remember this is anything under 18 foot is blue. And then you have the main river channel that kind of narrows up right in here. But we have this dark line. Now remember before, I said pan out, you'll be able to see those lines, and then you can kind of zoom in on it. So let's zoom in and see what we have. So what we have is a deeper hole right here, okay? And then there's kind of like a steep ledge here, and then almost like a shelf. These are called, if you ever hear somebody talk about like a double ledge, So yes, Meat Hook Outdoors. Meat Hook Outdoors, he asks, are the cards more accurate than the mobile app? Yes, because, if you have the cards, you have them updated, you don't have to kind of hold, I don't want to say they're more accurate than the mobile app because they're two in the same, okay? But you don't have to hold the phone, up and try to figure out where you're going. You have your chart on your sonar. You can see your waypoint. You can kind of see if you mark something, what's on it. For instance, there's a lot of times I will just kind of go back and forth and start marking fish. And as I mark them, and I mark several fish as I'm going down through that section of water, I will be able to zoom back out, see my waypoints, and be able to put something together. There might be a certain depth that those fish are on, and you'll see the majority of them in that area, okay? So that's something to keep in mind as well. The mobile app is a good thing to have, especially, if you you end up going, going someplace and you want something to do, you can look at it on your phone. It's definitely helpful if you get out there with your buddy. Nick and I would be looking at the sonar. Nick would look at his phone, and we would kind of break stuff down as we was going along. Okay, if we figured out something, Nick would get on his phone and be able to look at it while I was still looking at the sonar. So it's kind of like one and the same. But what we're seeing here, you're seeing a double ledge, and these can be extremely, extremely good. Catfishing with Cahoon, he asks, from using that, how accurate is it when on the water to sonar? It's very accurate. With GPS nowadays, things are super, super accurate. You can really pinpoint, things down to be honest with you. Okay, so we was talking about this double ledge. Okay, so anytime a double ledge like this is really good because it gives those fish somewhere to kind of stage up at a different depth, so they don't have to go from 70 foot straight up, into the shallow or straight over here in the 20. They can get on this shelf at 50 foot. Okay. There's lots of little things that you can do, with this as well. And we will touch on them, more as we go along, but you can change the collar to, specific depths you want. If you really pinpoint down the fish are in 50 foot of water, 60 foot of water, 2 foot of water, you can, really pinpoint, by collaring, just like I did that safety collar. You can pinpoint that down as well, and that's a whole nother segment to go on. So now a lot of people ask me, how do we measure? And this kind of goes along with the gentleman's questionnaire a few minutes ago on once we find a place, how do we know how close we are, where we're at, things of that nature. Okay, so I'm gonna set my cursor right there and I'm gonna hit measure. Let's see here. Well, it's going from where I'm at, but you can drag your bubble down to the waypoint where you want to be, and that will tell you, how far you are away from it. All right, River Cat, he asks, are the charts better suited for reservoirs rather than rivers, like the Ohio and Canal? So yeah, river, depending on the section you're at, will depend on whether you actually have charts or not. Unfortunately, where I am at on my section, I really don't have much for charts. These are really good for lakes, even small lakes, lakes that you wouldn't even think would have a good chart option will have them. A lot of your big lakes, some of the Mississippi River has some of it, the lower Ohio, all of the Tennessee, Cumberland, places like that have these charts just like these here. How can you see if they are suspended on those stacked lines? That's a good question, and the biggest thing. Let's see. Let's go back out. Let's go to. We'll go into the simulator mode, and then Those highlighted blue areas, that was a collar that I put on there to be able to kind of show you guys, some depth and differences in depth. So if the simulator mode will work, I'll be able to show you guys some stuff here. Okay, so as the simulator loads up here, I'm gonna go back and had a couple questions here. Sonar charts live. Ken, that is a good question, and I do use them. Depending on where you're at and what you're doing, sonar charts live for me in the high river section is good, and I use it a lot, especially if I'm in a new body of water. Now, I wish I could find fish all stacked up like this right here, and it was all catfish, but unfortunately not. So this is a good, let me find one here. Here we go. Okay. So the question was, how can we see those fish stacked up on those ledges? And this is a good example. You have the bottom, this is a side imaging unit, the side imaging of the Lowrance HDS 12. So this would be the left side of the boat. And you can see their structure and rock and different things, but then you see a dark line that goes down through here. That is your ledge. That would be the dark lines, the real light lines that you see on the chart, okay? And then those are all fish stacked, on that ledge. And this would be structure, and the same would be over here as well, okay? And then you can see how this structure is relative to your 2D sonar. Yeah, Harley, that'd probably be gar, buddy. It's been so long since I've been actually out on the river. I wouldn't mind catching some gar. I'm hoping to be out on the water this weekend though. Cat Kings, that's a good question. Will it load on HDS 7? If you have a place for, for a card and you have GPS and you have that option, then yes, it will. Let's go back here. I'll show you how to, what those options are. Okay, so, come on. So as you can see, I just clicked on the charts, okay? For anybody that does not know much about the Lowrance touchscreen units, you can split it up how I have it split up into three different segments here. If I want to do something or change something with the side imaging to activate that side, all I do is touch it, and you'll see that, my settings and all that change. And then just like that, you can now, activate your 2D. In this case, we want to activate our charts. And then we can go down to chart options. Now for for you that was asking about the HDS 7, if it would load up on it or not, if you have an option for Navionics, then yes. If you don't have a place to put a card, then you may only have your Lowrance, and I can show you guys what that looks like as well. So that is what it would look like if we did not have charts, okay? Navionics charts, which still gives you some, a little bit of detail, but not a lot. I'm gonna go back in and turn the simulator off. Let's zoom back out here. And you guys can see that we can go just about anywhere we want. Zoom it in down there in Alabama. We'll go to down in Decatur. Everybody likes good Wheeler Lake. All right. So now that would be just the Lowrance unit itself, its charts, okay? So we're gonna change that up to Navionics, and you guys will be able to see the difference once it loads up. There we go. All right, so big difference, okay? And, you know, as you guys can tell, you know, I have the, you know, the blue is highlighted as a safety, that's a safety color. I have anything under 18 feet will be blue for you guys that are just, you know, kind of wondering that. But I done that so you guys could see, you know, some difference in contours a little bit easier. So. All right, so hopefully, you know, hopefully this kind of helped explain some things to you guys tonight. You know, as always, if you guys got more questions about it, if you want me to break down a certain thing, you know, with it, you know, please let me know in the comments. I was surprised at the some of the questions I have, and you know, I want to make sure that you know, I'm explaining that, because a lot of times I kind of take things for granted that people might know, and I don't want to do that. So I want to make sure that if somebody's out there and they have any questions, you know, make sure you guys are asking them so that we can answer them. Never know, your question might be the question that leads to helping somebody else. Okay, this is a very good comment. Now, and this is something I don't know a whole lot about. So somebody commented, for guys running Lake Master cards, it works very similar to Navionics, and that the information that we're talking about here will carry over to that. So thank you for sharing that with me, Infamous Catfishing. So, you know, that's a good tip and some good information, because I don't know, I have not ran Lake Master charts. So for you guys that do, you know, let me know how you guys like them. If you're somebody that has ran both, leave it in the comments below. You know, I'm kind of guy, I get stuck on one thing, and I pretty much use that you know, same concept, you know, from there on out. So, but anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the you know, the video tonight. As you guys know, some of you guys have said, you know, congratulations for the 10,000 subs. I did, you know, a while back, mention something about it, and we hit 10,000, and I'm going to do a giveaway for hitting 10,000 subs. That giveaway is going to be a fishing trip on me. You'll come down one night in a hotel, be able to fish, you know, out here with me, and hopefully we'll be able to get you guys on some really, really good fish. But keep an eye out for that. I'll post that on the SlenderCat page. There'll be some details that you have to do to get signed up for that, so that we can make sure that everybody gets signed up and give them time to get signed up. So until then, I want to say thank you for everybody that just joined in. If you guys, as always, have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you guys next week. Hopefully I'll be able to get out on the water and put some fish in the boat this weekend. It has been a long 6-7 weeks. So I'm eager to get out there, get them poles that are over there hanging on the wall bent a little bit, and get some fish in a boat. So thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys again next week.